Welcome everyone, this is your own channel Learner's Saga. In this video we will discuss the concluding portion of the Prose Packing by Jerome K. Jerome. But before we start, I like to request you to press the like button and also to subscribe the channel, and if you have any doubt, please comment and share the video. So without wasting any time, let's begin. In the previous video, we had discussed that how the butter episode was. In that portion, in that particular episode, we noticed that George and Harris made a blunder by a very trivial butter. Here, after getting that butter off that was stuck to the shoes, now the next thing what happened we should study. I will take my oath, I put it down on the chair, said Judge. So in the previous paragraph, as you can remember probably, that after getting, here it is, George had got it off his slipper, they tried to put it in the kettle. It wouldn't go in, and what was in would not come out. Okay, so the remaining portion with which what did they do? They did scrap it, they dragged it and put it down on a chair. So now from there, I will take my oath, I put it down on that chair. Who said? George. George is saying this, staring at the empty seat. The seat is empty. Why? Because unknowingly Harris has just sat on it. Here it is. Harris sat on it. So it stuck to him. That's why they were not finding the remaining portion of the butter. And George said, I will take my oath. That means I can take oath. I can take a vow that I put it down just a minute ago on that chair. Staring at the empty seat. The seat is empty. Why? Because already Harris has sat on it. That's why it has stuck to his behind, to his back. I saw you do it myself not a minute ago, said Harris. So Harris is also confirming, yes, you are right, George. I saw you to place that butter on that chair. I saw. See how ridiculous. He said that he has witnessed himself that George did so, but he cannot remember that he has sat on that. Then they started round the room again looking for it. The two friends started for the butter, looking here and there, and then they met again in the center and stared at one another. So without finding, when they meet one another in the center of the room from where they started, and they looked at each other in a very peculiar way. Most extraordinary thing I have heard of, said George. George said, it is so extraordinary. I have never heard of this kind of thing, that the butter is nowhere else. Where we saw, both of us, we saw that the butter was on the chair. So mysterious, said Harris. Harris also said, so mysterious. Then George got round at the back of Harris and saw it. Suddenly, George got round at the back of Harris and he discovered the butter there. Why, here it is all the time, he exclaimed indignantly. Okay, so George is very indignant. Indignant means you can say angry, or he is not satisfied, he is dissatisfied, and asked Harris why the butter is always at the back of yours. Where? Cried Harris, spinning round. So Harris, when being informed by George that that thing is here, he asked where, and thereby spinning round. Stand still, can't you? Roared George, flying after him, and George, trying to catch him, said, "Stand still, stand still, stand still." And they got it off and packed it in the teapot. So finally again they packed the butter in the teapot. So this is the butter episode, students. Now from paragraph number 12 there is another episode. The episode that belongs to the pet dog of our narrator, our author, Jerome K. Jerome, and the dog's name is Montmorency. You can see here in the picture the dog. So Montmorency was in it all, of course. That means in every affair, in every work, every endeavor that the three friends were making, Montmorency was in everything. Montmorency's ambition in life is to get in the way and be sworn at. So students, you can understand here, you should remember this thing. What was the ambition of Montmorency's life? Montmorency's ambition was to get in the way. That means to interfere. Get in the way means to interfere and be sworn at. That means be cursed at. Montmorency loves to interfere others, and when they curse him, the dog likes it very much. If he can squirm means, you can see here, wriggle. I have noted this. Squirm means wriggle. If he can squirm in anywhere where he particularly is not wanted and be a perfect nuisance and make people mad and have things thrown at his head, then he feels his day has not been wasted. So a very peculiar type of dog. Montmorency is a perfect nuisance. Very wicked type of dog. See here what is said about him. If he can squirm in anywhere where he particularly is not wanted. Suppose the narrator and his two friends, they are not wanting Montmorency to come there, but the dog will definitely come there and be a perfect nuisance, and thereby creating a perfect disturbance. Nuisance means disturbance, and make people mad, and thereby making the people who are engaged in their work mad, totally crazy, and have things thrown at his head. He loves that when people should throw something at his head, then he feels his day has not been wasted. Okay, and if people reacts to him in this way by cursing him and throwing something at his head, then the dog feels, okay, my day has been fulfilled, it has not been wasted. Oh, very peculiar, very naughty. To get somebody to stumble over him and curse him steadily for an hour is his highest aim and object. See, the narrator has previously told us that his ambition was to get in the way of others and be sworn at. Now, the narrator said to get somebody to stumble over him, okay, and curse him steadily for an hour is his highest aim and object. And when he has succeeded in accomplishing this, his conceit becomes quite unbearable. So, what is the meaning of this paragraph? Here, the narrator said that if somebody stumble over him, he is a very naughty dog. He sits or sleeps here and there. So, if somebody just stumbles over him and thereby falls, he should curse him steadily for an hour. It is his highest aim and object that people should stumble over me and curse me and snub me. It is his highest aim and object. And if he succeeds in doing this, in accomplishing this means in doing this, then his conceit means here pride, vain pride, here his pride becomes quite unbearable. Then he becomes, his pride becomes quite unbearable. You cannot imagine how much pride he acquires then. He came and sat down on things just when they were wanted to be packed, and he labored under the fixed belief that whenever Harris or George reached out their hand for anything, it was his cold damp nose that they wanted. So another very peculiar thing about this dog, that when he came and sat down on things just when they were wanted to be packed. If the narrator or the two friends, they are wanting to pack something, he came and sat on that particular thing. And he labored under the fixed belief. Labored under means he had the notion, he had the strong confirmation, strong belief that whenever Harris or George reached out their hand for anything, if George and Harris just spread their hands to have anything that is to be packed, the dog thought that it was his cold damp nose that they wanted. He put his leg into the jam and he worried the teaspoons. He also put his leg into the jam and thereby worried the teaspoons. Worried means it is given in your book, disturbed. He disturbed the teaspoons also. He played with the teaspoons and he pretended that the lemons were rats. Okay, so it is the quite natural thing with the dogs. You can probably understand this, that the dogs, they like to pretend as if they were playing with something. And here in this case, Montmorency was pretending that the lemons were rats, and got into the hamper and killed 3 of them. Okay, so he, by pretending that the lemons were rats, he killed 3 lemons. That means he spoiled 3 lemons before Harris could land him with the frying pan. And when Harris noticed this, Harris just hit him with the frying pan. You can see here the picture, because Harris is trying to hit him with the frying pan. Harris said, I encouraged him. And it is the complaint of the friends that the narrator encouraged his dog. I didn't encourage him. But the narrator said he didn't. A dog like that doesn't want any encouragement, because he is full of encouragement. He doesn't need any other encouragement. It's the natural, original sin that is born in him that makes him do things like that. So the narrator is also quite angry, and he said that the dog is full of excitement, encouragement, and it is the original sin. Okay, sin, that is a crime against some. Generally, sin means anything that is evil. Okay, that is not suitable for one, or that you cannot do religiously. But here the narrator said it is the original sin that is born in him. When he was born, the naughty behavior of the dog was born within him. That makes him do things like that. That's why the dog doesn't need any kind of extra encouragement. The packing was done at 12:50, and Harris sat on the big hamper and said he hoped nothing would be found broken. See, he is sitting on the big hamper and hoping that nothing would be found broken. George said that if anything was broken, it was broken because they are tired, which reflection seemed to comfort him. And when George said so, this kind of reflection, this kind of thought seemed to comfort Harris. He also said that he was ready for bed. Yes, definitely, after a very troublesome packing, they all were ready. We were all ready for bed. That means the 3 friends. Harris was to sleep with us that night, and we went upstairs. So the 3 friends went upstairs to have a sleep. We tossed for beds. Tossed means, toss, to jump slightly. We tossed for beds and Haris had to sleep with me. Haris had to share the bed with the narrator. He said, "Do you prefer the inside or the outside?" J means Jerome, Club ka Jerome. So what side do you prefer? Do you prefer inside the bed or the outside? That means the edge. Which side? Do you prefer the inside or the outside? That means the edge of the bed. I said I generally prefer to sleep inside a bed. Okay. At 8, Haris said it was odd. Haris probably expected that the narrator would say that he preferred to sleep outside a bed. That means just at the edge of the bed. But instead, the narrator replied he preferred to sleep inside a bed. And Haris, that's why, said it was odd. That means the narrator's idea to sleep inside the bed is very strange. George said, "What time shall I wake you fellows?" Haris said 7. I said no, 6, because I wanted to write some letters. Okay, so here is the difference. One friend says 7 and the another narrator said 6. Haris and I had a bit of row over it, but at last split the difference and said 6:30. So it's like a like the case of a bargaining, as we can say, as Haris said 7 and the narrator said 6 because he has to write some letters. That's why both of them agreed that okay, cut short, take 30 minutes. That means 7 becomes 6:30. Both of them have some understanding, mutual understanding here. Here you can see split the difference means that they agreed on 6:30 because it was halfway between 6 and 7. So both of them agreed. Wake us at 6:30, George, we said. So Haris and our narrator Jerome Kakka Jerome said that George should wake them up at 6:30. George made no answer, and we found on going over that he had been asleep for some time. So when the narrator and Haris didn't find any answer from George, they went to see what's George doing, and then they found that George is asleep for some time. So we placed the bath where he could tumble into it on getting out in the morning. And the two friends, Haris and our narrator Jerome Klapka Jerome, they were also very naughty. So they placed the bathtub where he could tumble. He means here George. George could tumble. Tumble means to fall. Okay, to fall into it, to fall into the bathtub on getting out in the morning. So they placed the bathtub just beside the bed of George because they wanted whenever George woke up in the morning, he should fall into the bathtub, and went to bed ourselves. And the two friends, by doing this mischief, they went to bed to have sleep. So this was the story. You can see here Jerome K. Jerome, Jerome Klapka Jerome, an extract from Three Men in a Boat. This was the main story. This was the source of the story, and we have completed this. I hope you have enjoyed the lesson, and I request you, if you have any doubt, anything that I have not cleared, you may please comment, and I will try to convey my hopefully I will try my level best to clear your doubts. Okay, thanking you. Till then, I hope to meet you in our next video. Goodbye.